No missile fired. No bullet spent. Beam of concentrated light reaches out at 300,000 kilometers per second. Melts sensors. Blinds cameras. It cripples avionics. An entire squadron of aircraft becomes mission killed before a single weapon is ever launched. A conventional anti-aircraft system fires a projectile and hopes it connects. A high-energy laser does not hope. It reaches out at the speed of light. The beam arrives the instant it is fired. There is no dodge. There is no evasion window. There is only contact. The physics begin with stimulated emission. The laser generates coherent light. Every photon in the beam travels at the same wavelength and phase. This coherence allows the energy to remain tightly focused over enormous distances. Flashlight scatters. Laser does not. That difference is everything. The gain medium determines the laser's power class. Solid-state lasers use crystalline slabs doped with neodymium or ytterbium ions. Electrical current pumps energy into the crystal lattice. The excited ions emit photons at a specific wavelength. These photons bounce between reflective mirrors inside a resonant cavity. Each pass amplifies the beam. The output coupler releases a fraction of the accumulated energy as a continuous coherent beam. The process repeats thousands of times per second. Modern military lasers operate in the 100 to 300 kilowatt range. Next generation targets 500 kilowatts to 1 megawatt. At these power levels, the beam delivers devastating thermal energy to any surface it touches. But raw power alone is not enough. The conflict is atmospheric interference. The beam must travel through air. Air is not empty. It contains water vapor, dust particles, and thermal turbulence. These scatter and absorb photon energy. A perfectly focused beam at the source can bloom into a diffuse smear at range. The laser becomes a very expensive flashlight. The dance is adaptive optics. The deformable mirror sits in the beam path. Hundreds of tiny actuators push and pull the mirror surface in real time. A wavefront sensor measures atmospheric distortion thousands of times per second. The system pre-distorts the outgoing beam to compensate. When the beam passes through the turbulent atmosphere, the distortions cancel out. The beam arrives on target as a tight, focused spot. The correction cycle runs at over 1,000 adjustments per second. It fights the atmosphere in real time and wins. But even a perfectly focused beam does not explode a target. It degrades it. This is the key distinction. A high-energy laser is not a death ray. It is a precision denial weapon. The beam dwells on a specific component. Sensor optics, infrared seekers, cockpit canopies, satellite dishes, camera lenses. The beam heats the surface until the material fails. Glass cracks. Coatings vaporize. Semiconductor sensors burn out permanently. The target is not destroyed. It is blinded. The thermal damage mechanism works through localized ablation. The laser deposits energy faster than the material can conduct heat away. The surface temperature spikes above the material's failure point. For optical glass, this threshold is around 500 degrees Celsius. For infrared sensor coatings, it is even lower. The beam creates a microscopic melt crater on the lens surface. Within seconds, the sensor is permanently clouded. The aircraft's targeting pod, radar warning receiver, and navigation camera all go dark simultaneously. And this is where the economics become terrifying. The surface-to-air missile costs between $500,000 and $3 million per shot. Laser engagement costs roughly $10 in electricity. The magazine is not a rack of missiles. It is a diesel generator. As long as the power flows, the laser fires indefinitely. There is no reloading. There is no ammunition shortage. There is no cost barrier to engaging thousands of targets. The beam tracking system locks onto a target using a combination of radar cueing and electro-optical tracking. A telescope-grade optical system acquires the target visually. A fine tracking mirror keeps the beam locked on a specific component as the target moves. The tracking precision is measured in microradians. The beam spot stays on a single rivet head at distances exceeding 10 kilometers. But lasers have hard limits. Rain, fog, and heavy dust degrade performance dramatically. Water droplets scatter the beam. Dense cloud cover can block it entirely. The system is most effective in clear, dry atmospheric conditions. Night or day does not matter. Weather does. Contested airspace. A hostile air force prepares a coordinated strike package. 24 multi-role fighters loaded with precision-guided munitions. Their mission is to suppress ground-based air defenses and open a corridor for follow-on bombers. They expect radar-guided missiles. They carry electronic countermeasure pods. They have trained against every known SAM system. They have never trained against this. A network of 6 ground-based high-energy laser stations is positioned across a 120-kilometer defensive line. Each station houses a 300-kilowatt fiber-coupled laser. The power comes from mobile generator trucks. The adaptive optics modules are calibrated. The sky is clear. Visibility is excellent. The first wave of 8 fighters crosses the detection threshold at 80 kilometers. The lead station's radar cues the optical tracker. The telescope acquires the nearest fighter at 60 kilometers. The fine tracking mirror locks onto the aircraft's nose-mounted infrared search and track sensor. The beam fires. It is invisible to the naked eye. There is no flash, no smoke trail, no warning. The infrared sensor absorbs 300 kilowatts of focused energy for 3 seconds. The germanium lens cracks. The sensor housing melts. The fighter's primary targeting system goes completely blind. The pilot sees no warning light. The system simply stops producing data. The aircraft is now flying with no forward-looking infrared capability. The laser shifts to the next target. The second fighter loses its radar warning receiver 4 seconds later. The optical dome on the aircraft's tail vaporizes. The pilot does not know he has been hit. His electronic warfare system reports no incoming threat. There is nothing to detect. The laser is silent and invisible. Within 90 seconds, the first laser station has engaged 5 aircraft. Each engagement lasted between 2 and 4 seconds. 5 fighters are now flying with degraded or destroyed sensor suites. Their targeting pods are blind. Their missile seekers cannot lock. Their precision-guided munitions are now unguided dead weight. The pilots still have flight control. The engines still run. The airframes are undamaged. But every single offensive capability has been silently stripped away. The aircraft are mission-killed without a single explosion. The formation commander realizes something is wrong. Multiple aircraft report simultaneous sensor failures. No missile launch was detected. No radar lock warning was triggered. The electronic countermeasure pods show no hostile emissions in the traditional frequency bands. The threat is invisible. He orders the formation to descend below 500 meters. Low altitude might break the line of sight, but the laser stations are positioned on elevated terrain. The beam angles adjust. The optical trackers reacquire targets through the thinner low-altitude atmosphere. 2 more fighters lose their cockpit head-up display projectors. The glass substrate cracks from localized thermal stress. The pilots lose critical flight data. The second wave of 8 fighters attempts a different approach. They approach from the east at maximum speed, Mach 1.4. The laser stations share tracking data across the network. Station 3 engages the lead aircraft at 45 kilometers. The beam dwells on the navigation pod for 2 seconds. The sapphire window melts. Station 4 simultaneously engages the wingman's targeting pod. Both aircraft lose offensive capability before they reach weapons release range. The remaining fighters in the wave scatter. They jettison their now useless precision munitions to gain speed. They retreat beyond the laser engagement zone. The strike package is broken. Of the 24 aircraft launched, 14 have been mission killed. 0 aircraft were physically destroyed. 0 pilots were harmed. 0 explosions occurred. The defensive line expended approximately $120 in total electrical cost. The hostile Air Force lost an estimated $2 billion in degraded combat aircraft. These aircraft now require complete sensor suite replacements. But the system is not invincible. A sudden weather change would have blinded the lasers entirely. The cloud bank rolling in would have shut down the defensive line. Heavily armored aircraft with ablative coatings can resist beam dwell for longer periods. The laser stations themselves are vulnerable to long-range ballistic strikes. These strikes bypass the optical engagement zone. The lasers dominate clear skies. They do not control the weather. The age of bullets and missiles is not ending, but a new weapon has entered the battlefield. Light itself is now a weapon of war. High-energy lasers fight at a speed nothing can outrun. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more analysis of the weapons defining the next generation of warfare.